Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So the PTS has just gone live again, and it is bringing with it playtesting for the upcoming Test Your Metal update due this summer. So there are 3 new events in this one, 3 new public events, each with their own theme. Today we're going to take a look at the first one that is Settlers themed. That is Eviction Notice. Okay, so before we crack on with this, just a quick order of business or two. This is, of course, unreleased content. It's on the public test server, so everything in here is subject to change. And if you guys would like to avoid seeing this stuff before it comes out, as obviously it's unreleased content, then this is probably a good point for you to be bowing out. So, with that little caveat out the way, let's have a look at Eviction Notice. So, first up, we're going to have a look at the patch notes on this one to have an overview of the event. So, see what Bethesda have to say. The settlers at Foundation have been working to expand their territory by setting up a new encampment within a nearby blast crater. They even managed to engineer a solution to the crater's deadly radiation levels by inventing a machine known as a rad scrubber. However, a radio broadcast from one of the settlers at the construction site indicated they have been attacked by super mutants. Now you must visit the crater to check in on the settlers and ensure the area is safe so that work can get back underway. So, Eviction Notice is a challenging new public event tuned for higher level characters. It will appear on your map at a crater east of Foundation, south of Huntersville, and in the Savage Divide. So, quick comment on that one. In terms of its high level stuff, it's actually not that challenging for high level players at all. So, hopefully they'll be doing some work on that. I'll talk about that more in just a moment. In terms of its location, this spot is actually already in the game, so if you want to see what it looks like now, you can head over to the location and say east of Foundation, south of Huntersville. Actually, the easiest way to find it is to fast travel to the monorail tower and then just run north, or tiny little bit northwest, and it's quite close by there. It's a really cool location. But as with all these events, the locations they're taking place is getting a massive overhaul in the PTS or in time for this update. So there's a whole load of cool stuff going on there. The crater's a bit bigger, it's been sort of redesigned, even the landscape's been redesigned a bit. There are sort of 2 levels to it. There's the lower crater level where the rad scrubber is. That's quite cool. There's loads of bits of building that's destroyed in there, providing bits of cover, which is quite cool. And up top, you can see the area where the settlers have been doing their building as well. So that's also quite interesting too. So we have to find and activate the rad scrubber within the crater and then prepare for a fight. Defend the settlers' supply crates and the rad scrubber from an onslaught of super mutants. I haven't actually seen those supply crates yet. I'm guessing they're up top, because most of the time I've been hanging around down the bottom of the crater during this event so far. So I'm guessing those are up top. The rad scrubber is definitely down in the bottom half of the crater. If the rad scrubber takes too much damage, it will deactivate. Repair it as quickly as possible, or else rad levels in the area will become much more hazardous. As I say, I haven't actually seen that happen on the PTS, because high-level characters mostly on the PTS, so super mutants haven't got anywhere near the rad scrubber, so it's actually not too hard to defend. My hunch, actually, is that a high-level, strong build could probably solo this without too much difficulty at all. In fact, you wouldn't even have to have the strongest build in the world, really. If you can take down super mutants reasonably quickly, you'd probably be able to solo this as it currently is. So, tip: destroy the super mutants' meat bags to discourage them from sticking around. You and your event mates may want to try splitting up so that the players can venture out and attack the meat bags while others focus on defense. So regarding that, there's only half a dozen meat bags in there at the moment. Literally, there's 6 of them. So they tend to get destroyed in the first few seconds of the event, and it's kind of a non-feature almost. It's so quick and easy to destroy them that I think that really needs some balance work, which is true of both of these new events. The Test Your Metal one, not so much. That's had a bit more testing though. But these 2 new ones, Eviction Notice and Moonshine Jamboree as well, definitely need a little bit of balance work, and the rhythm of them needs a little bit of work. If you're successful in driving the super mutants from the crater, you'll earn Settler Faction reputation, which is fine if you need it, some loot, and a chance to receive one of several 3-star legendary weapons that each sport a unique new paint. So these are new unique legendary weapons. So yeah, the event's reasonably fun. My big sort of pro to this event, as it is at the moment, is not only are the new weapons pretty cool looking, and the paints are really quite nice on them, it kind of falls into a similar category to, say, Radiation Rumble, in that it's going to be a really good XP farm when they get the balance just right, and it's also going to be a really good legendary farm as well, because there seem to be quite a lot of legendary enemies there, and a lot of opportunities to run around and get them. And obviously, with a previous update, we don't actually have to hit those legendary enemies anymore in order to be able to loot the legendary off their corpse. You just need to be reasonably nearby. So that's pretty cool. You'll be able to farm quite a lot of legendaries out of this particular event when it pops. There are a couple of issues with it. As I say, first up, those meat bags, there's only half a dozen of them, and they disappear so quickly that it's kind of a non-feature. I haven't actually noticed the supply crates yet, so I'm guessing they're in the top half. I'll have to keep an eye out for that on the PTS. But there tends to be a few players up there anyway covering that side, so defending those is not too much of a problem, and neither is defending the Rad Scrubber, as the distance the super mutants have to cover to get to it to do damage is quite long. So particularly on the PTS, where you've got mostly high-level, committed long-term players with pretty darn solid builds, the super mutants aren't getting anywhere near that Rad Scrubber. So the other side of this comment with the high-level players is that there is a bit of a problem with the spawning and the travel in of the super mutants, and also the mutant hounds and the floaters that also spawn there. They spawn quite a long way out, sort of out of sight of the main crater, and then have to run in. It's a long way for them to run. You tend to find players, particularly those with the strongest builds, will just hop outside the crater and then kind of camp the spawn points and take out most of the enemies before they get anywhere near the crater, which means it's quite an easy event, which is in contrast to their goal to make it challenging and geared around high-level characters. And it also means that players who are perhaps less able to do that, or just simply don't get out there and camp the spawn points, will tend to lose out on XP and the opportunity to contribute in a big way to the event, just because somebody else is there doing it already, and you can't, only one person can one-shot something. Not that they're generally getting one-shot, but once they're down, they're down. So there's definitely a balance issue somewhere in the spawning and that sort of thing. We need some means to encourage players to kind of congregate a little more in the middle so that everybody can kind of contribute a bit more, I think. I think that will be a good change if Bethesda can come up with a way to do that. It is worth mentioning that some of this is actually exaggerated a bit on the PTS, because as I say, it does attract those higher level, more experienced long-term players, rather than more casual players, so you tend to get those tougher builds, and most of it is populated by really high damage characters. So once the event goes to live, that will spread out a lot more, so you'll still get a few of those around, but nowhere near as many as you do on the PTS, which is good, but even so, it doesn't completely solve the problem, so it's something that maybe Bethesda need to look into. So looking at these rewards quickly, I've only picked up a couple of them so far. I've picked up a black powder pistol, which is a unique one. I couldn't really tell what the new unique paint on it was. It looked fairly cool generally, as far as black powder pistols go, but I didn't really spot what was unique about it. On the other hand, it's a black powder pistol. I can't see many people wanting to use that outside of the occasional strange person like me who wants to try a black powder build at some point, mostly for the fun of it. But for the overwhelming majority of players, I really do not see them using a black powder pistol, so it's an odd inclusion, that one. The other weapon I've picked up so far is a unique combat shotgun, and that I see being more interesting to people. The paint job on this one in particular I really like. I think it's really clean, really cool. I would absolutely love to see more paint jobs like this coming in through Seasons and through the Atomic Shop as well, just because that's the sort of thing we'd love to be getting our hands on and spending our atoms on and so on and so forth, for a lot of people. Obviously, I like seeing a lot of the camp stuff too, but yeah, it's really cool to see some really nice paint jobs coming in, even if they are limited to singular, unique weaponry. But hopefully that means we'll be seeing more of this sort of stuff as time goes on, because I know Bethesda are doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes to add some really interesting stuff on the camp building side, new items as well, so hopefully that implies some cool stuff on the weapon paints side too. Fingers crossed. So there we go. We've had a little look at the Eviction Notice event, and you could see a little bit of footage of the event as well on screen. And yeah, it's quite fun. I think it's going to be a good XP farm. I think it's going to be a good legendary farm, but I do think it needs some balance work. The rhythm's a little bit off, and they do need to find a way to make sure that you haven't just got a few high damage players camping those spawn points too much. I'm not quite sure what the solution might be there. Maybe just shrink the area of the actual event so that players move too far away from that, they're actually not inside the event and won't get rewards, which will pull them back towards the centre. Something like that, in my opinion, will make for a much more balanced event for more players, rather than just sort of favouring those few particularly high damage players. I know that's what they're going for, the high level characters, but as I say, if one person has already sorted everything, nobody else is getting a look in, so there's definitely a little bit of work to be done there. But this is why it's on the public test server, after all, that's the whole point. So yeah, Do hope you found this one useful and informative, and I enjoyed having a little look at this new event. Obviously, I'm going to do separate videos on Moonshine Jamboree, and we'll do a shorter separate video on Test Your Metal as well, because we've already covered that once. I'll link that one up the top. And I'll hopefully link Moonshine Jamboree video around somewhere as well, so do check that one out. It's coming very, very soon. But yeah, they're fun, cool new events, and I've been enjoying trying them out when people aren't generally being idiots. But other than that, it's been good fun to try them out. So hopefully Bethesda's going to get a few additional tidbits to kind of tweak and adjust in the future out of the PTS as well, because there's definitely some information they can pull out there regarding things that definitely need nerfing as well. So who knows? Hopefully the long-term impact of this PTS series will be good as well, beyond just the events themselves. Fingers crossed, that would be nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this event, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they balance it out a little better in future. So, if you did enjoy this video, please do drop subs and likes. I very, very much appreciate it. Down below the video, in the description, we've got my social media links, the merch store, and channel memberships on that blue join button as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel that way, I really appreciate it. It massively helps out. And if you get a chance to join us for live streams as well, we are, of course, playing Fallout 76, and we are playing a few other bits and pieces on the side as well. We've got through a few games already this year. It's been good fun, so we do hope you join us for that. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.